it's me, Hemang from the creators, and welcome to my Unity tutorial series for absolute beginners. In the previous tutorial, we went ahead and created our player object and got it moving inside our game. Well, now the issue is, as we can observe, if we go to left or to right, our game object has the ability to move outside our screen, and we don't really want that. So in today's tutorial, we'll be going on and adding boundaries to our screen so that our game object will be confined inside the screen only. So let's go ahead. Now, to create something like a boundary inside our screen, we will use something called an empty game object. Well, to specify, an empty game object is quite literally empty. It has nothing but a transform applied to it. So basically it's just a set of coordinates inside our 3D or two-dimensional space. Now we'll go ahead and name this to boundary underscore left. Now what we'll do is we'll apply a component called a collider. A collider basically allows a game object to detect collisions. So we'll go ahead and add a box collider. Now we can see a green colored square has appeared here. Now we'll go to edit collider and resize this collider to match the height of our screen. Now we can see that a green colored box is covering the boundary of our screen view. Now what we will do is we will go into our player and we'll apply a component called box collider to it, as well as our game object player also needs to detect collision. Now one more thing that we will do is we'll go ahead and add a rigid body component, specifically a rigid body 2D. What a rigid body 2D does is it will allow our game object to use Unity physics. Now the reason for applying a rigid body is that Unity is structured in such a way that collision between two objects can be detected only when one of them has a rigid body component. Now if we go ahead and play our game, once our game loads up, we'll see that now we should be able to technically detect collision, but as we saw, our player just fell through the game view. Well, the reason this is happening is because of gravity. We can see a component here called gravity scale. We'll set this component to 0, which means that gravity will have no effect onto our game object, as that is what we want in our desired scenario here. Now once our game loads, we can see that now if we go to left, our game object player does collide with the boundary, but it ends up rotating. To do so, what we will do is we'll go into rigid body 2D constraints and we'll freeze rotation along the z-axis. Rigid body is a physics component that controls many different properties like material, mass, linear drag, angular drag, and many other properties which determine the physical interaction of the game object with its environment. Now let us go ahead and play the game. Now technically and ideally this should work perfectly, and here we can see that our game object is no longer able to exceed the left limit. Now we will go ahead and apply a similar boundary to the right side of our screen. To do so, simply we'll duplicate this game object. To do so, press Ctrl D and we can see a duplicate of the boundary left game object has been created. Now we'll move this boundary onto the right side of the screen and we'll rename this to boundary underscore left, or sorry, my bad, boundary underscore right. And now if we go ahead and play our game, we can see that our game object is now fully confined within the screen space. Well, that's it for this tutorial. If you found this video helpful, do consider leaving a like below and subscribe for more awesome Unity tutorials. In the next tutorial, we'll go ahead and create our ball game object and get it bouncing around in our scene view. Well, until then, see you guys next time.